Today, his partner in finding accounting crime, Ed Ketz, joins us now from University Park, Pennsylvania. Anthony and Ed write the Grumpy Old Accountants blog. Ed, welcome to Bloomberg West. Nice job there reading the minds of the SEC, looking at Groupon's latest filing. Is it good enough? Are you pleased? Is it correct and accurate this time?
We don't know whether it's complete or accurate. We know it's moved in the right direction. But they should have seen this the first time because the accounting that they were doing did not comply with generally accepted accounting principles. And these were issues that were not ambiguous. They should have known, and their auditors should have known about this. So there's a bit of lack of trust here in terms of whether it's still complete.
Now, your blog is called the Grumpy Old Accountants blog, and true to that name, you say Groupon looks like a hit and run. What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look at certain models, for example, if you look at some models that deal with prediction of bankruptcy, when we put Groupon's numbers in there, the numbers show a very high probability that the firm is going to have corporate failure within the next year or two. We also looked at the Benesch model, which tries to estimate the probability that you have accounting fraud going on. And when you look at that, the model itself comes up with almost 100% probability. So these are not good signs, and they bring about questions that the management team at Groupon need to answer.
Ed, you made it all the way through that without saying Altman Z-score. That's very good. The accounting geeks don't have to get lost in that. Let me ask you, though, about this. Why would a company do this? I mean, look, these guys, the chairman, Lefkowski, he's taken at least 3 companies he's been public that have been involved in. One went away, went bankrupt. But why would a company do this?
The company would do this because, as was said earlier, companies, especially in the high-tech industry, are trying to get valuations based on multiples of their revenues or sales. And so if you're trying to get a multiple out on that and try to value your stock based on that, then you want to pump up the revenues as much as you can because that will pump up the valuation on the stock. And so it appears to be just an attempt to jump the stock price.
Ed, we were emailing over the weekend as I was going through the S1, and I found a couple of instances where numbers in the past changed that shouldn't have changed with this different revenue recognition. But on the other hand, and the company says in the S1 filing they found some mistakes in the numbers they'd previously reported, but they're marginal percentage-wise. Do you think this is important?
Those various changes, as you said, are marginal, but they raise a question. You'll notice that the auditor does not provide a report on the internal control system of Groupon. And that is telling because it says that the internal control system may or may not be working adequately. And so what we have here is that even though the mistakes are marginal, there are a number of them in there, and we're left with thinking about the internal control system. Is it adequate? Is it catching things? And is it catching things in time before they actually make the filings? And it doesn't appear to be working at this time.
Ed, how do you expect this is going to play out? I mean, you're saying you think Groupon is not very far from bankruptcy. I mean, really? And if so, how far?
Well, the model, as all models are based on statistical representations of populations where you have some failed firms and some non-failed firms. And so they, of course, have a certain amount of power, but they're not perfect. So it is possible that Groupon will be one of the exceptions on this. Our point is simply that it is imperative that investors that are interested in taking a look at Groupon do so with their eyes open. They need to understand that these models are giving out some very bad signals, and if something is right with Groupon, Groupon needs to explain why these signals are turning out so disastrous.
But bankruptcy, you're saying, is a possibility.
Absolutely.
All right. J. Edward Ketz of Penn State University, thanks so much for joining us here.